All right. Here we are. We're back. After the intro credits, we move on to what we like to call group therapy. It's a chance to check in with our characters about recent events and get a little insight into their emotional state. Um, Very exciting that this is going to be Matthew's first group therapy session with his character Soter. And yeah, I mean, Matthew, would you like to take the honors of doing it first, perhaps?
No, don't let me do
No,
it first. That's
don't
so
let you.
mean.
Wait, what?
That's so mean.
That's
Don't let
so.
me go first.
Okay, all right. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I'll go ahead and go with Egner first. How about that? Well, Egner is in a particular state right now where he's very much in disarray, and he doesn't have like a super coherent kind of handle on his feelings at the moment. Because Egner thought he was in the comfort of his own situation at Bronzewood Grove, and he could just kind of drink however much he wanted. And then, all of a sudden, they had to go and do stuff and jump into this fiery portal, and there's this guy who's a tiefling. And by the way, Egner doesn't have any problem with tieflings or anything. He likes tieflings. He thinks they're cool, you know. But still, there's this like mysterious tiefling guy that has just talked everyone into like helping him out with something. So Egner was about to stumble into this whole situation like very trashed. But then he had the brilliant idea of using lesser restoration on himself to purge his body of the poisonous toxins that is the very strong alcohol that he creates in his own home still. And it's like he didn't feel drunk anymore, but it's like he got the hangover immediately. The headache, the sensitivity to loud sounds, like all of that, it just hit him like a ton of bricks. Even though he's like not drunk anymore, he is just, he's got a vicious hangover, is what he's got. So it's hard to say how he's feeling emotionally because he's very much in this just primal state of just having the worst headache, and he just can't even process like subtle things at all. He's just like, stop the noise. Ugh, it hurts. It hurts. So yeah, Egner might be a little more careful about just purging his toxins out of his body at a really bad time when they're going into hell. Yeah, yeah. So that's how he is.
Mm, all right. Well, that's how an Agner do. Let's find out how an Eridu. Uh, Eridu is,
Eridudu.
you know, that's potty talk.
Ah!
Um, Eridu's pretty pissed. Last time we left off, you know, he said it last week. He hasn't met many tiefling in his life, but the one he does know, he doesn't seem to enjoy very much. Um, which is unsettling or disappointing since they seem to hit it off in a very flirtatious way. Um, but then Soter went ahead and attempted to leave without really inviting Eridu along. He didn't appreciate that and showed up and invited himself. So now he's going to hell with this new tiefling he doesn't like very much and his close friend and his sister, which is, always great. I'm sure there won't be deep emotional childhood trauma pulled up in this whatsoever, especially now that they are left in the dark after Soter's warning about don't leave the lamplight from the lantern that he carried. And then he went running off after some crying little girl and left us in darkness. I'm sure everything will be fine.
Shall I go?
Yes, please.
Okay. Right. Okay. Leah has a lot of emotions, shockingly, as that might be. She, well, unfortunately, one of her greatest fears, which I've talked about before, and which like has gone so far as to be the thing that the tormentor snake used on her in underneath Finnegan's lab, thanks, KERRY, um, is that she's afraid of turning her brother's friends into essentially cult members, like consuming their wills with her own emotions. So they become like kind of just followers or minions or whatever. She's been terrified of doing that. So she was trying really hard not to get close to anyone. And now she has absolute proof that she did this to Ellie, someone she cares about very much. And she has a suspicion that she might also have done something to Halifax by just having very strong emotions, strong and confusing emotions at him. So she's going to do her best not to have any emotions about Agner ever, because. But so she was mid spiral after figuring this out, and starting to just head on a very swift downward spiral when this weird tiefling showed up out of nowhere and completely threw her off. And then did like some very suspicious things, like basically herding her into his portal, without like really leaving a whole lot of room for questions. Yeah. And she was already just so reeling from everything going on before. She did not know the right questions to ask. She did not know how to like be rational about this anyway. And here we are. So good job, Soter. And she, I mean, the problem is, of course, that with her attention so split between her own personal crisis and this weird situation that she's somehow gotten everyone into, she can't really devote her attention to either of them properly, which means she's gonna like basically be useless. So yeah, useless Leah.
Well, what can I say? I'm just loving the turmoil I create. But yeah, so Soter, as you can imagine, is already pretty riled up. Places to be, things to do. And it just seems to be that nothing is going right. Um, there's time sensitive stuff that is constantly at the forefront of Soter's mind, and deep down, no matter how many times he's gone to the depths of alternate areas of the world, he knows that there are things to be worried about. There's always going to be some danger going about there. So it's it's kind of this, hey, people are coming with me. This is great. This is great. Let's get them quickly and safely where I need to go. And then just this giant curveball comes out of nowhere, and Soter is gobsmacked. He literally can't believe what's going on in front of his eyes, and that's it. This curveball has taken his entire attention, and he's a sucker. He's a sucker for potential tieflings in need. And yeah, there's one thing on his mind now, and it's no longer what it was when they went down.
Fucking A. Well, now take it away, KERRY.
Okay. So we pick up in a large chamber, cabin. So large that the characters can't even see the ceiling. You can't really even see like the edges of this room, even with dark vision. The floor is like, it looks like black liquid. It looks like you're walking on top of the sea, but it's just completely black, and you can't see like under it. And in the distance, you've seen a ship half sinking, and a sort of abandoned-looking church. And then this young girl runs out across the water, screaming Soter's name and begging him for help. And Soter ran after her, taking the light with him.
Oh yeah.
As the light slips off you guys, initially you were expecting perhaps it to be a little bit cooler, maybe like, because you've been feeling heat down here, and maybe it was the lantern sort of like, you know, keeping some of that heat around you. You're in a cave, usually they're quite cold. When the light slips off you, it's suddenly like 10 times hotter. It's like almost too hot to bear. Like the light was keeping you out of this. It now feels like you're stood in a furnace. The light slips off of Eridu first, and as soon as your back foot leaves the light, it starts to sink into the water. Although it looks like liquid, it's more like a gel, and it's kind of like quicksand. And you start to feel yourself being pulled into this, whatever this liquid is. And as the light leaves all of you, all three of you start to feel yourself sinking in. Agna, you now lose any sort of sense of people's like movement and vibrations on this because it's now in this liquid.
Oh no. Oh gods, no.
What do you do?
Oh shit. I'm gonna reach out and grab Agner and Leah just to make sure that they are there, since I'm assuming seeing is also a difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you've not got dark vision, it will be like, yeah.
Well,
you'll
I
be
have
in
dark vision,
darkness.
but still, you said it was like so dark. The dark vision was not
Further
dark enough
out.
for the vision of darkness.
Once you get past your dark vision. So if you've got dark vision, you can see each other. Fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll grab them and I'll attempt to push myself out of this quicksand.
Okay. It's going to be strength checks to
Oh, all right.
try and pull yourself out.
Eridu
So at the
is the
minute
strengthiest.
You're
Sure.
down to like your ankles, so you can all make strength checks if you want
Okay.
to, like trying to pull yourself out.
Okay.
And keep moving.
Just
We're talking athletics, right?
or yeah, is it a skill check or is it just a ability check?
Or a save throw.
Written just strength. But
It doesn't matter to me either way.
athletics is
Because
fine.
Making it athletics.
18.
Okay.
good. I like it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I rolled a 19, so.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. All right, old blue, don't fail me now. Oh, natural 20. Oh,
Oh, man, look at
28.
that.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn, that feels good.
You
Damn,
guys,
that feels good.
you're so great. I really appreciate you. I want you to remember our friendship right now. I rolled a 2.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I rolled a 3, but I got a 2.
For sure. Well, I mean, with Agner's 20, he would try to pull Eridu with him. Is what he would try to do. Yeah. He would attempt it.
Yeah.
I would also like to know how far away Soter is from us now, if we can like try to lunge toward him. And also Leah's going to scream something like, Soter, the light!
Yeah, you can absolutely scream that. He would have, by the time the light gets off of you, he's too far away for you, like for an arm's
Mhm.
grab. But you can call it sound words. You can see him running now. Too far to kind of lunge for him, but you can absolutely like shout for him across this cavern, and your voice would echo around you. Agna and Leah, you manage to sort of like pull your feet out enough to take another step forward, but you feel your feet immediately sinking back down. Eridu, you try to pull yourself up, and you end up sinking down past your knees. And then even as Agna and Leah start taking the next step forward, your ankles go immediately back in. You're immediately back up to your ankles. And it's going to be another athletics check.
Oh god.
Oh, Jesus. How far is Soter from us?
Well, it's probably been like around. So what's the speed's probably like 30 feet away.
I mean, did Soter react to Leah saying anything initially before we like make this next athletics check?
So you'll probably have noticed a slight pause in his stride, but he's still bombing it away from the group.
Fuck.
Oh God.
So in fact, he might be dashing. So 60 feet, I would say.
Matthew,
he
you're
is 60
asking
feet?
for it, man.
Yeah.
All right. In that case,
You're
since
asking for it, dog.
Eridu's feeling, since he's feeling himself kind of sinking in, and he seems to, be aware that his own strength is failing him. He is going to embrace the fact that he is surrounded in darkness, and then he is going to disappear in a shimmer of like red light, and then he is going to appear again next to Soter, because my shadow step is 60 feet. And
you stole my
place
thunder.
A hand on his, place a hand on his shoulder and kind of pull him back.
I will stop you before you get that far.
All right.
As you try to step, you disappear, and while you think that you're going to reappear next to him, it's like you smack into the force field of this light.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
And so you need to make a dex save. I'm gonna give you a dex save.
Dexterity
19.
save.
Okay. Yeah. So you slam it into what this seemingly force field that you saw the bird creature sort of batter against it before.
Yeah.
And you just managed to catch yourself falling like onto your back in this like gel. But you do land you're next to the light, like right next to him in the light. But yeah, you can't get inside that. And you immediately start sinking again as soon as you land.
And I'll just shout, "Damn you, Soter!"
Upon hearing the "damn you, Soter" so close by, Soter kind of pauses for a second and turns back. And Eridu's on his back, is that correct?
No, he managed to stay on his feet. But
Managed
he's
to stay
starting
on
to
his feet.
sink again into the.
But seeing Eridu start to sink, he stops running, and you can see Eridu can see the conflict on his face, and he just takes one last glance in the way that the young girl was running and starts heading towards Eridu, not quite dashing, but certainly at a little bit of speed.
So you do notice. So two things that you notice. First of all, the girl not long after you stop skids to a halt, and you see an Eridu will see this. Well, they probably all see it's not that far away. Apart from Mike. And Leah, if she's actually looking, but she's probably panicking.
No, both things are true.
Looking back.
Yes.
Yeah. So the girl skids to a halt, and out of the darkness walks 3 ASMR soldiers, and they seem to be approaching her. And then you also notice that as you get closer to Eridu, you can't get him in the light, and you would know that you need to turn it off and on again. Basically, you need to turn it off, get people in the space with you, and then turn it on again. Once they leave it, they're not going to be able to get back in again.
It's not working right, so turn it off and turn it back on again.
Basically.
But let me phone IT support. Shit.
Well, meanwhile, we'll go back to Agna and Leah.
Athletics checks.
Yep, please.
All right.
Mine is not so good now. I got a 5.
I
but-
get a 26.
As I'm sinking, I grab onto Ignar and say, "Hit me," because I've just seen Leah's just seen Eridu teleport Leah only has one teleport, and she has to like take damage in order for it to work because she's a broken mess.
Totally.
But she like
Complicated.
urgently says, like, hit me.
What?
Just punch me, for God's sake.
Oh, okay. Gah! And then Agner will do a melee attack with his fist. Is unarmed strike. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 2. So I get 10 on your AC.
Okay, well, it doesn't go through.
It makes sense because, you know, Agnes kind of lost all sense of like where he is now.
Like, flailing.
Even
Yeah.
though you're managing to keep out of it, you're managing to kind of stay enough on top of it that like it's like thick mud to you at the minute. It's like just having to pull your boots out, but it's still like super disorientating. So as you're trying to like swing for Leah, Leah's being like sucked down into this gel and like kind of trying to work out where she is. You don't quite manage to hit her. Leah, you feel something wrap around your ankle, and then it pulls.
Fun.
And you get tugged in up to above your waist by something underneath this gel. You can't see through it. It's like too thick and dark to see what it is, but you can feel it's like twisted around it rather than like a hand.
Something's got me.
Okay, so as soon as Leah says that, then can we say like that Agner and Leah were still holding on to each other, which makes the fact that he missed the punch even funnier. Like, so they still got a hold of each other, and Agner will just curse loudly and just say, "God damn you, Soter!" And then he'll cast Dimension Door, and he will bring Leah with him. And what he intends for the Dimension Door is to essentially, like, with the text of the spell, he's going to say, take me right next to Soter. You know, take me like directly right next to Soter. So if they slam into the light too, then whatever. But at least I tried. At least I tried.
You would do. So yeah, it works. It goes off, and you find yourself hitting this barrier again. And you're going to do dex saves as well.
Okay. Yeah. Come on, old blue. I got a 12.
I got an 11.
Okay. So both of you come like falling out of this dimension door spell, expecting to kind of land on your feet, but instead you come out and smack into a barrier, and then fall backwards. So you end up sort of sinking down like your legs and your butt and your hands like, as you kind of like catch yourself. And you feel yourself sinking in. You can feel something like shifting underneath. You can feel like there's something is like trying to get hold of you. Yeah, go on.
Agner will just scream at this point. Soter, what the fuck is going on?
What does that do?
Mia will also scream, but she's just screaming shit.
So if I have this correct in my head, everyone is kind of around the light.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is... Well, this did not really work very well before. Wouldn't the light of my lantern be wide enough to engulf the entire group as they currently are?
Yeah. You'd be able to like take a couple of steps forward and then.
Okay, that's fine. I will not be trying to gust anything then.
that would make me even more confused and angry.
I would like to cast Gust on the blind man. So what Soter does is very Gandalf, you shall not pass, kind of lifts his lantern and just poof, turns it off, blows it out, and then relights it, and hopes that everybody is in the lantern light.
What I want to know is what horror awaits for us in that fraction of a second.
It's a quick enough motion that nothing seems to happen in that space of time. Although you were feeling yourself sinking in, once the light hit you again, you felt like it's almost like it turned back to water for you to like pull yourself out of, but then it's solid on top. You're back in the light. The girl is still outside the light, and she is currently backing away from 3 ASMR soldiers who tower over her. She turns and looks over her shoulder, and she looks scared. Like, there is pure panic on this girl's face, and she's looking directly at you guys. And then you see, from the other side, coming out of the darkness, 3 more ASMR soldiers that move forward to pen her in and basically surround her. You can hear her saying Soter's name over and over again. And as you stand there, unless anyone's reacting to this.
Go on.
And Leah will both. Eridu will, look at the girl and look at Soter, and his face will soften. What is Leah gonna do?
Leo is gonna step forward and just shout "stop" to the soldiers. She's just gonna make this up as she goes along.
And then Egner is just going to stand up and dust off his armor and just grumble under his breath, "When is someone going to tell me what the fuck is going on around here?" And then Leah will be like, "Stop."
Yeah. Fling up a hand. Very dramatic.
Eridu will look at Soter and say, "We go together."
I know that I haven't been very forthcoming with you guys, but please help me. And I just kind of look around the entire group and go, "Are you with me?"
As long as you keep me in that goddamn lantern light, then yeah.
Eridu has already, he gave him a nod and began to walk towards the girl.
Run. And Soter starts dashing towards the Asimar.
Okay.
Right.
I guess we
And
follow.
under his breath shouts, "Grab Eigner!"
Eridu is probably at the very edge of the light at the front, since I have a movement speed of 55, as opposed to the rest of you slow people.
Trying to slow down a little bit to stay in the light.
I'm having to pace myself just so I don't outrun them all.
So you start running towards this group. As you're running, they start to the first one. They all have spears, basically. And one of them turns it round so it's a blunt end, and you see it come down on top of her. And then also all 6 of them start to basically beat down on this girl, Tiefling.
Jesus.
As you run, Eridu, you're up at the front. It's
And
like
I've drawn my swords at this point. I'm ready to kill something.
it's like you bounce off of them when the light tries to reach them. It's like a force field. It's like when you've got 2 magnets.
Mm-hmm.
It's against each other, the wrong way around. You can't encompass them in the light. What do you want to do? Eridu, you're basically right in front of them because you're at the front of this light. Soter's in the middle of the light, and Soter's always in the middle of the light because he carries the lantern.
Right. You're going to have to turn it off again, I think. I can't reach them.
Has Soter ever encountered anything like this before?
Yes. You know this scene. This scene brings back a lot of memories for you. This scene is the last time that you saw this girl.
Instead of turning off the lantern, Soter casts darkness.
Okay. Where are you casting it?
so that the epicenter is essentially on the little girl.
Okay. You cast a spell. In front of you, it all just gets encompassed in darkness. It kind of like bends around the light, but you now can't see what's happening inside.
Yeah, because darkness blocks dark vision too, doesn't it?
So all you can hear now are the screams and the cries of the little girl and the ASMR spears hitting a body.
So
Quick, Soter, turn the light back on!
The light's on. It just
Oh,
cuts out.
yeah, I'm in the darkness. I don't know that.
for sure.
You're still in the because unless you actually did you purposely leave the light again, the lantern?
Oh.
Light?
Oh, so does the darkness like wrap around
Yeah.
the light? Oh, I assumed it just.
Mm.
Okay. In that case, I take
That's
back my
wild.
statement. I thought you fooled me. I totally rolled to be fooled and was fooled as well.
Word. So is there like so Asa did say something about how he can't get to them. Did he say something about like a force field or there's like a barrier or something like that?
No, just said that you needed to turn the light off and back on again.
Okay, because I'm trying to decide if Agner can piece it together to try dispel magic to see if there's like a magical barrier in front of them that he can like take down.
Well, Leah can describe what's been going on, but her interpretation is that the very nature of our lantern is keeping us from getting to them.
Yeah, because you would have seen me bounce off of this force.
Because
Sure.
they are of the outside and we are not.
That was Eridu's initial assumption as well, that it was the light keeping them out.
Huh. Well, I mean, can't we just move until the little girl is like encompassed in the light? Like, I'm confused about where we are at the moment.
So basically, it's not letting anything. It seems to not let anything that's on the outside when the light was turned on into the light. So essentially, like, it just seems to sort of hit like. It's not like hitting them exactly, but they are like right up against the outside of it. So Eridu was almost like face to face with them. But
Is
the
it
light can't
kind
go
of
over
like
them.
if the light moves, they sort of move in tandem with it as well?
Yeah, that's what
Um,
that's what I'm wondering is like because I'm trying to envision like can Soter just not move forward right
Yeah,
now?
basically.
He's
Basically.
just like
Oh, okay.
frozen
Move
in
around
place.
them, it would be like it's against a wall. Imagine like
Okay.
a wall against a wall.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
it's his movement that's limited, not theirs.
Yeah, so like Eridu could walk out of there now, but then he also knows that then he would be out on the outside again and probably not be able to get in again. But
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it would even be wise for Agner to fucking try that then. I don't know.
probably not. I'll just say it's probably not going to do anything.
Okay.
He does like to use his spell slots. So.
Oh yeah, he'll use them so quick if you let him. He'll just use them all in like 5 minutes.
I mean,
Yeah.
Leah could go so far as to say, "Don't use dispel magic" to him, as she's like quickly describing what's going on.
Well, then he'll angrily say, "Well, what in the hells are we supposed to do then?"
I don't know. I don't know.
And Eridu will whip around and it's all gone dark. What is going on here, Soter?
I thought the darkness might encompass their light.
And then we can't save them. Or her.
I thought possibly if I don't know. I just thought it might help. We might be able to get through with my light.
Now she's probably sinking into the ground just like we were. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going into a different voice with this character entirely. The game better with a character with a much different voice.
You crazy boy.
Yeah. Now she could be sinking into the ground as we were. How are we going to save her now?
Oh, Eridu. Did you not notice her running?
No, it all went black before us so much.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Soter, is she real?
Of course she's real. Why wouldn't she be real?
She was running in the cave. I don't know.
She's got to be real.
Who the hell is
Then-
she?
That is a story which we do not have time for just now.
Well, let's
we-
move before.
We need to get to her. I can't
Fine.
lose her again.
Well, I don't know how we can get to her. I mean, we're right here. Can't we just move over and get to her?
At that, Soter just starts aimlessly running in the direction where the Aasimar were, regardless of what happens.
So is the light sort of like going around this thing?
Basically, yeah.
As he's
all
running,
sort
and
of
it's
turned
like-
around, yeah. How long does darkness last for? 10 minutes, alright, okay.
How long are we going to run into in a circle?
It's a lot of darkness.
10 minutes. So we'll say that Soter is not going to run around like headless chicken for 10 minutes. We'll say he kind of runs into the barrier maybe 3 times, and that happens to break his concentration, which would then dispel the darkness.
As the darkness drops, it leaves behind it just the little girl lying on her back with one hand outstretched towards the group. She has blood all down her face. She has tears all down her face. And you watch as she just kind of mouths your name one last time before it just sort of sinks away into the water and disappears.
So
You're left with now
Soter
silence.
Soter just runs forward to where the girl was lying and just sinks to his knees and just starts crying and kind of places the lantern carefully down so that it's still kind of radiating its light, but he's no longer holding it. And he just drops his spear and just on his knees, just kind of whacking his fists against the ground, just sobbing.
Egner comes up and lays a hand on Soter's back and says, "Soter, where is she? I can help. I can. I'm ready."
Agner, she's gone. She's vanished into the ground.
What do you mean? What do you mean? That's impossible. And at that point, Egner will take his hands and, hit the ground or like the water surface or whatever the fuck. He's gonna try and reach down and try and grab I mean, she was just here, right?
Agner, don't.
Eridu will also come to Soter and... Or, did I say Egner? My character. He'll grab Soter on the shoulder and just kind of harshly pull him to his feet till they're face to face. And then he will just wrap his arms around Soter and just hug him.
Aww.
Jeez, I'm tearing up now.
And he'll say, "I'm sorry I didn't trust you."
At that, Soter just when you get that feeling of pure emotion where you just can't even hold yourself up, just embraces Eridu and sobs all the more with someone to share his pain. She's gone, isn't she?
I'm afraid so.
She's gone.
Who was she?
She's the one that started all this. Without her, I wouldn't be here, put it like that.
If If there is any way to find her again, I will help you.
I don't know. Maybe your sister was right. Maybe she wasn't even real. I can only hope that she's still there somewhere. But I just don't know. Alive, dead, in between, here, there. I just don't know. And it's killing me.
Well, you have others to save. Let's not waste any more time, lest they share her fate.
So does...
How many?
Sorry, you go.
Soter, how many years has it been?
Too many. Far too many. And with that, Soter bends down and picks up his lantern and just has a sort of orients himself, and then just kind of doubled over, just says, we should get going. Erdu's right. There are others.
Does Agner sense any of these Asmar soldiers still around or anything like that?
It is like desolate now.
For
It's
sure.
Just, like pure silence. No other, like the water underneath you is completely still. You seem to be alone
Okay.
at the moment.
Well, Agner will... This might not help at all. But Agner will say, look, these soldiers that were beating her to death, I mean, they're not even here anymore. And you said that she, like, sank into the ground? That doesn't seem very probable. Soter, I think this is all illusion magic. And believe you me, I've had my share of experiences with illusion magic, and it can be pretty damn convincing. But I don't know. I think I have to side with Leah on this one. I don't think it was real. I think it's still possible that she is out there, absolutely. And if we can find the real her, then we absolutely can help her. But yeah, I think this one was just a cunning illusion.
Leah's gonna whisper to Agner, I think Soter knows.
Well, look, I'm just trying to share my perspective and the way I thought about it, and like I'm sorry if I wasn't very helpful there, but I agree. We should continue on.
So sensitive. Such a sensitive Agner.
So tactful. The most tactful.
How much of that sort of conversation between Leah and Agner would Soter have overheard?
I mean, probably
you
the
stood
whole
right
thing.
next to them.
Yeah, the whole thing, really.
Everything.
We'll try this one last time. So Soter casts Gust against Agner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make save and throw?
Yes.
Alright. Wait, what kind of saving throw again?
Strength.
That's what's up. Alright, old blue, don't fail me now. I rolled a 10 plus 8 is 18.
Soter curses Gust with his being. Jesus.
Leah's gonna say to Soter, I understand you're upset, but please don't kill him.
Oh, trust me. In this place, there are things far worse than death. I just want him to see it's just us. Who's casting the illusion magic?
Could be anyone. Could be someone from the ISCB for all you know.
Oh my god.
They're very crafty. And And wait, who's trying to kill me?
So, sorry, the IBS.
No,
See?
no, it's no. It's ISCB. It stands for the International Spellcasting Certification Bureau. They are a bunch of snakes and liars and just fucking tyrants. Don't let anyone tell you any different. They're fucking snakes, and they're everywhere, even in the places that you wouldn't expect, like the lower levels of hell, perhaps.
That's just weird. I'm not sure I follow. I have met many snakes, and none of them really have had any spellcasting ability.
Oh, I mean, no, you took me literally. I was saying metaphorically, they're snakes.
But snakes are very loyal and loving creatures, so they're very loyal and loving.
Soter, you're getting lost in the weeds here. There.
Or you are, Agner.
Wait.
Let's just keep moving. Let's just keep moving.
Yeah. No. You're right. Let's just go. All right. Let's just go. Okay.
Now that's an idea I can get behind.
All right.
You start taking a few steps forward, and as you started moving, suddenly there's a shout that rings out across this cavern, and then you hear the sound of marching feet, and rising up out of the water in front of you is a line of prisoners. They're all chained at the feet, so they're taking like very small marching steps. And you see at the front there is a guard that leads the group. All of these prisoners, Agner wouldn't notice this because he can't see. But the rest of you notice, all of the prisoners are dwarves. They make their way up out of the water, and the very last one on the end is a familiar looking female.
Do we see like an insignia on the soldiers that is what we think it is?
Yeah. You see the symbol of MCINNIS on the guard at the front. You find yourselves basically walking directly behind this group, and the female dwarf at the back turns to look over her shoulder and seems to look directly at Agner, who obviously can't see, but you guys can see that she seems to be like she's looking directly at Agner. And then she whispers, "Agner, you can still stop this. Please help us." And Agner, this is where you hear this voice that you haven't heard for years, but you know it immediately.
For sure. Agner will stop dead in his tracks and just freeze. His eyes are like bugged open, like he's a deer caught in the headlights. And he stammers out something. And he'll turn back even though he can't see the whole scene. He seems to know exactly where the voice was coming from. He'll have his mouth hang open for a little longer while he tries to think of something to say in response, and then he'll just shout, "All right, it's all. Yep, I knew it. It's all an illusion. It's all fake. That's okay. Let's keep going. Let's just move on. There's no point in staying here when it's all just a fake illusion, right? So let's go right now. Okay."
As you say this, you're saying it, but it's almost like you're predicting exactly what's about to happen. Like, you know exactly what's like happening right now. And the line of dwarves stop, and there's a shout from the front of the line. And you recognize this shout as being one of your old commanders. And he marches his way down the line of dwarves to where the girl is, or woman. he takes out his sword and turns it so he's using like the hilt of it, and he swipes her across the face. She falls onto her knees, and doing that trips up the entire group, and they all fall onto their knees. He leans down and picks her up by the front of her clothes and lifts her face close to his, and then hisses, "Look what you did. Shut your fucking mouth and keep walking." Again, like, you recognize his voice, like, you've spent years around this guy. He then looks the guy then looks up directly at the group of you, but Agner, you would kind of know that actually this is where you were stood in this situation, so it's like they're looking at where you should be, but they're looking at you. There are probably words. I'm not doing well tonight with words. There are a problem here, Bosch. Stop being so fucking weak. Keep them moving. Keep them quiet. It's not a hard job. And he marches away to the front of the group again.
Agner will respond in this very, like, it's like kind of like a hysterical, nervous voice that it has this tone of like, oh yeah, I'm so confident and I figured it out, but it's obviously like he's on the edge of like hysteria and fucking breaking out in emotion, and he'll just shout very cynically back at the commander. Oh, very, very nice attention to detail, Vashun. Yeah, you really knocked it out of the park this time. Got every single detail perfect. You know, it's just great how fucking great you are at illusion magic that you can get every single little detail just right. And you followed me into hell. You followed me into a fiery portal just to fucking torment me. And that at that point, he'll just kind of devolve into more swear words, and then he'll like try and storm away, but then he'll realize that he can't leave the lantern light, so then he'll like storm like in a little circle, and then say to the group, "Can we leave already? There's no use in being here."
We can try.
Let's keep walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole time Eridu is just, he's watching the scene with just empathy etched into every line of his face. And then he looks at Agner as he's doing his pass, just understanding both the weakness and the strength of Agner's past even better.
Yeah, Leah is definitely like radiating just pure sadness, but I feel like Agner's own emotions are strong enough that they're not even touching him.
Mm-hmm.
You keep following this group. It feels like there's not really another way to go. They always seem to be directly in front of you. And eventually they come to there's a circle of people. And you can see on these people, they're also the fighters, paladins, clerics, all of the same god. The dwarves are walked into the center of this circle, and as such, you guys end up in the center of the circle as well. And then it closes off, and they're surrounded. As you're kind of looking around and looking at these dwarves who have been pushed onto their knees on the floor, you notice a cleric steps forward, and he starts to do a series of hand gestures. Go.
Yeah, this is, since Agner knows exactly how this whole thing is going to play out, because this memory has been burned into his mind and he's replayed it so many times in his mind. He knows that the cleric will step forward, will start making hand gestures, will start muttering divine words, and will start to cast the spell. And then Agner will just start making this like pained groaning sound that just gets louder and louder. He clutches his head. He's just like, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real, it's not fucking real, it's not real. And then he'll just like have this outburst of anger and frustration, and he'll say, "Fuck this shit!" And then he will attempt to cast his own spell. He will attempt to cast Dispel Magic, and for dramatic effect, I will cast it at the 4th level instead of the 3rd level to, just for dramatic effect. He's going to use his strongest spell slot that he has available to just try and dispel the whole thing around him. It'll be this huge hand gesture as he finishes his statement of "fuck this shit."
You feel your spell leave you and kind of radiate out. However, at the same time, the rest of you see and you feel it's almost like it happens like at this exact same moment. Fire shoot out from the guy who was casting spells.
Oh, it was gonna be like a cylinder from above. It's like the flame strike spell, like.
Does it look like Agner's spell has? Well, actually, I'm gonna have cast my spell at the same time.
Ooh.
In the same
what?
time, Eridu will begin to intertwine in his fingers what seem to be. It's almost like he's doing cat's cradle with moonlight.
Nice.
And then as he releases the spell, this barrier surrounds the imagery, and I've cast silence on it.
Ooh.
Knowing Agner can't see it, I figured if I can stop the sound, maybe I can stop some of his torment.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. So.
Perhaps his dispel magic hits my silence, and there's an unfortunate effect.
So basically, unfortunately, the dispel magic, there's nothing for it to dispel. It's not going to stop this happening. However, the silence does stop the sound. It does make it silent.
So maybe Agner thinks his thing works.
I mean, yeah. He
As usual, in Agner's mind, he has never failed at dispel magic. And this is another instance where he failed, but he doesn't think he did.
So the other 3 of you watch as these flames come down from the sky directly onto these dwarves, and you see them catch the light. You watch the whole thing. You see their mouths moving, like you would be able to hear them. The guards around you are just like completely still, unmoving, watching this happen. And then the air starts to fill up with like thick black smoke, to the point of where it then just covers like the whole like of your vision and like goes around the force field again. So all you can see is like this curtain of like black smoke. Do you want to do anything in this moment? I don't know if it like the silence. You probably would it be with like.
It's 20-foot radius, so I can choose the spot. And I've chose to put it around the image. It's a 20-foot radius in 100 feet, 120 feet from me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say you can hear each other then.
I'm going to whisper to Eridu, "Thank you," because I knew it was coming too, and I know what he did.
Agner's just going to say, "I don't know what you're talking about." Agner dispelled it.
Agner, at that time, is like doing this with his hands, just like, all right, because he's convinced that he just like totally dispelled the entire thing, and they're like just by themselves at the moment, where that's obviously not the case, but that's what he thinks. And he just does this, and he's like, all right, now that that's done, let's get out of here. Let's please right now, let's just leave.
Leah's going to catch Soter's eye, just in sort of a please don't say anything way, and also to offer an apology and a sort of a maybe we'll talk about this someday, because obviously this was very traumatizing, I'm sure, to watch. Just because we happened to have seen this before, well, it was traumatizing the first time too. So but she's trying to say all of this with her expression because Agner's right there.
Also, not that it matters in the expression. I think we saw this last time from a ways off.
We did, yeah.
Whereas this is the first time we've seen this event on the ground level.
Standing in Agner's place.
Right.
It's a particularly fucked up little flair to it, for sure.
And Eridu will mutter a curse toward Urana under his breath. Because where Agner thinks it's all ISCB, Eridu has seen this before and seen this because of Urana. So he's making his own guesses.
Word.
Leah thinks it's neither, but she's keeping that to herself.
The smoke starts to clear, and you're left. There's nothing behind the smoke. The whole scene seems to have disappeared now, and you're back on this sort of still seascape in the dark. You keep walking. This cavern seems to be like, it looks endless. You keep walking for a couple of minutes, and then something starts to seem to like rise out of the water. Something seems to start like rise out of the water, and Leah, you recognize it immediately. You start to see the top of an abandoned looking castle. It raises out and then stops at a point where there's like a window. It looks like a door, but you know it's a window into like the upper floors of this castle. It also seems to be the way to go. Like there's no real way, like, you know, around it.
I knew this was coming. Or something like this. Please try not to judge me.
Eridu will just step closer and take Leah's hand in his.
She'll just try to walk forward, you know, making sure that Soter is also walking forward since he's got the light.
Yep, I just continue sort of walking forward stoically.
We get through this eventually, she says to Soter, right? It eventually ends.
Yes, of course it ends.
So we'll keep walking.
You walk through this window and find yourself into a upper floor corridor. It looks, you've seen this corridor before, Leah. This corridor is like, you spent years would probably be an understatement in this castle and in these walls. As you start walking down them, it is ever so slightly different. It seems like it's a lot longer than it should be, and there seems to be more doors lined down it, so it's not quite exactly how you remember it. As you start walking, one of the doors opens, and a youthful-looking elven woman, who Leah immediately recognizes as a younger version of herself, leaves the room side by side with quite a like homely looking man. He is very like soft and gentle looking. He has brown hair that sort of flops into his eyes that he kind of like pushes out of the way. He has what looks like around 3 days worth of stubble. Like he doesn't seem to sort of take loads of effort on like his appearance, but he's still kind of like handsome in that like effortless, you know, kind of way. They both look very casual, like they're just wearing sort of like day clothes, very loose and flowing. Young Leah, youthful Leah, is holding a book, and the guy is looking over her shoulder at it, and they are in deep discussion. Almost like it feels like it might be a debate, but you can see a smile on both of their faces, like they're enjoying this. This is just sort of their like daily life together, essentially. They pass across the corridor in front of you, open another door, and then pass out through the door again, and you're left in the corridor, still walking down.
Leah's entire body just sags. She says, "It's worse than I thought. Please just keep walking. Please don't look."
Egner, with this kind of biting cold to his voice, says, "Yep, don't worry about it, Leah. It's all fake." It's all fake. Even if it really happened right now, this is fake.
I know. That means I know what's coming.
Soter stops walking, and just turns to Leah and like grabs her hand and just looks her dead in the eye and just says, just don't look. Don't worry. And then he turns around and starts to kind of quicken the pace, not running or anything like that, but a nice solid power walk. Just kind of like dragging Leah by the hand with him.
And she's basically covered her eyes with one hand.
So you're covering your eyes, however, you do hear, as you kind of keep on walking, a woman's voice start to sing, and the rest of you, apart from Agnes, sees and young Leah again stood in the corridor, and she seems to be sort of like cleaning like a side cabinet, and she's sort of singing while she does it. A door behind her opens again, and the same man from before leaves it and comes up behind her, and he's smiling. He looks really happy. He places his hands on her hips and goes in to kiss her neck, and then he starts to sing with her, and it starts off in like a harmony, which then turns into them doing a bit of a duet while they clean this cabinet. Leah looks up at him with like smiling in her eyes, and this is probably a happiness that you've probably not really seen before from Leah. This is like everything in the world is like perfect right now kind of happiness as she looks at this man. They get to the end of the song, and Leah turns and takes his hand, and laughing slightly, she pulls him towards another room, opens the door sort of behind her, and they step through like full eye contact, and then the door closes and you're left in the corridor again, and you keep walking.
Glad we're not following them into the room. That's... All mercies.
You could put things together.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
And then, as you're walking down the corridor, 4 more figures appear, and they seem to be walking up the corridor towards you. And Leah, this is where you were kind of seeing like happy memories. Something then sinks inside your stomach because you remember this encounter. And you remember these people, and you spent a lot of time with these people. They are walking up the corridors talking to each other, and they mention a place called Larking and something to do with an undead problem. And then you hear some of that conversation, which is going to be hard because I can't do voices, but there are like 4 of them talking to each other. So I feel like man 1, man 2. So the first guy says, she said not to ask her again. Another one replies, it's fine. She'll want to come. The people need her. You know we can't do this without her. This guy says, no, I know, but yeah, I don't want to upset her. I can't really take that pain again. Another one, I know, I feel it too, but... And then the 4th one, who hasn't said anything yet, says quietly, but doesn't it feel a little good? And then quickly, the first one, shh, more of that kind of talk, and there's no way she'll come. Another one, and we need her. Yeah, we need her. Then a door opens, and the younger Leah and the guy from before step out into the corridor. Leah has her face turned away, and the guy that she was with is stood sort of in front of her protectively. He speaks to this group. We asked you not to come back. One of the guys says, I know, but this is different. There's a problem. He's trying to like look past the guy at Leah behind. And the man, man that's with her says, I don't care. Leodin asked you not to come back here. That guy, the other guy says, why do you get to stay here? Why did she choose you? I'm a far better fit for her. Don't.
Ooh.
And then you feel a wave of distress like shoot out from this Leah figure that you can see. So strong that you actually feel it yourself, and it like rattles everything down the corridor. Leah, you remember this like word for word what's happening. The man who was like trying to kind of get around the guy in front of you says, please Leodin, just hear us out. And he pushes past the man and tries to make a grab at Leah. The man reacts but is too slow, and the one who reached out grips hold of Leah's wrist, and another wave, this time explodes out to the point where doors down this hot corridor like bang open, and things fall off of shelves down the like, corridor. The man's eyes widen as he stares up at Leah and manages to get out, I'm sorry, and then his voice cuts off and it turns into a scream of pain as he convulses like someone who's gripped a live wire. His hand doesn't seem to be able to unclamp from her wrist. Leah, you're remembering this so well that you can almost feel his hand on your wrist, like exactly where it was. This image of Leah snatches her hand away and the body falls to the floor. The other men drop to their knees and bow their heads. We're so sorry, Leodin. He was out of line. You did the right thing. You always do the right thing. That's why we need you. Leah turns and runs back through the open door behind her, slamming it shut. The man who was with her stares down at them and just says, get out of here now. He looks so angry. The men leave with bowed heads, and the guy sighs and runs a hand through his hair, looking back at the door that Leah left through. Then he bends down and starts to pull the body away. This is a move that looks like it's something that isn't new for him. This looks like something he's done before. He pulls it out of sight, and you're left alone in the corridor.
Had Leah seen that particular part before?
No.
Her entire face is just agonized.
Agner is sounding more and more like fatalistic as they keep going, and his comment this time is, looks like we all have skeletons in our closets. Let's just keep moving on and get out of this fucking nightmare.
I've been trying to tell you all for a very long time why it's not safe to be near me. This isn't even the worst thing.
Well, hopefully we can get out of here without seeing the worst thing.
Do you really believe that?
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Let's just keep going.
You keep walking. You come to the end of this corridor and you're met with a door and a set of stairs to the right. As you come up to the door, you can hear a conversation behind it. It's raised and sounds distressed. This sounds like a couple in a very upsetting argument, basically. You hear Leah saying, you have to leave. And the man from earlier saying, please don't make me, I don't want to. Leah says, it's happening to you, I can feel it. I can't live with myself for doing that to you. The guy says, I can't live without you, Leon, and please don't make me leave. You can hear that they're both crying, and you can feel waves of despair radiating even through the door. And Leah, crying, says, please just do this for me. He says, I'll do anything for you, Leodin, but don't make me leave. You can hear like a bit of a scuffle, and then Leah says, please don't touch me. But I love you, Leah. Don't. Don't you love me? I do, and that's a problem. I should never have let this happen. And he says, I just want to serve by your side. Let me be here for you. Let me feel with you. And then it fades. And then you turn to take the stairs going down.
Yeah, Leah is actively, the real Leah, not the illusion Leah, is actively sobbing now. Just tears. Actually, no, not sobbing. Just tears are silently pouring down her face.
Eridu is just gripping her hand even tighter, and the bond created between them by Shar, like, even though we're not taking damage, he is actually actively funneling his own emotions toward her. Just, you know, he is actively using not calm emotions. Fucking, what's the monk thing that allows me to throw off charms?
Stillness of mind.
Stillness of mind. Yeah, he's gone into a state with stillness of mind, and he is attempting to pass that, to give Leah some peace. And he just whispers, "We've all done things that we wish we could take back."
I don't deserve that, Eridu.
I'm your brother. You deserve whatever it is I give you.
She attempts very feebly to free her hand from his grasp, but she's not really in any state to be.
He may not have a lot of strength, but he's very dexterous, and so his fingers just keep climbing around like a spider monkey, and she can't let go.
She doesn't try very hard because she's barely holding herself upright at the moment. It's all she can do to just put one foot in front of the other. And she just says, "This is why I don't fall in love, Eridu. This is why."
Eridu just takes it in very deeply and says, "But you had all that time before. Isn't that worth all of it?"
No. Because all that time made this happen. All that time broke a man that I loved. All that time destroyed him. He was never the same again. I loved him and I ruined him.
Eridu looks at his right palm. He's holding her hand with his left hand, in which there is an indented scar. And he just, looks at it and then looks at her, his eyes faintly glowing. She can even see the speckles of red that sort of course along the whites of his eyes. A wonderful remaining gift from Tix. And he says, "I understand."
All of you should take this as a warning. I don't know if you saw what happened to Ellie. It's more of the same. The more time you spend with me, the more likely it is that I will destroy you too. In fact, it's almost guaranteed, especially if I start to care about you.
Well, that's an easy fix. Just don't give a shit about me. I mean,
Literally,
huh?
it is impossible for me to choose not to care about someone, Agner.
Oh,
Just because I don't know you very well doesn't mean that I don't care about you.
All right. I don't know what to say, but I mean, don't take offense to this, Leodin, but I don't think I'm going to be falling in love with you anytime soon.
You don't have to. I
All right.
I have no interest in falling in love with you either. But there are a lot more emotions than love out there.
Sure.
Anyone can destroy you.
Egner's like scratching his head, trying to piece it all together. It's obvious that he's still under the impression that he's like impervious to Leah's emotional influence, even though that's like not the case at all. He just totally is confident, like, yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
Oh my gosh.
Walking down the stairs.
Yep.
Walking down the stairs. Okay, so as you start making your way down the stairs after having this conversation, you start hearing a very familiar voice. I don't know if Eridu would recognize it, but definitely Agna and Leah would recognize it. You hear Jaren's voice?
Joran.
Joran.
I still have his dagger.
I don't know if Eridu ever crossed paths with,
I don't think he ever met Jaran.
so you don't recognize it. But yeah. And you hear a conversation that you both remember because you were both there. You hear him say, "I've only recently been having these dreams. They're dark dreams, full of fire and death, things moving in the smoke in the sky. Terrible beings that are just waiting to consume all of the carnage that is to come. And there is a voice that has been telling me all of this can be avoided if I just do the right thing. I didn't think kidnapping Emily would be a big deal, really. But the more I go along this path, the more I wonder if it's the right choice." And then you hear echoing back. And at this point you come down the stairs and you can see Joran against a wall. And there's no one in there, but you hear this voice coming from somewhere. It's Leah's voice in reply. "I think your instincts in questioning yourself are correct, and I want to help you help yourself. I want to help you become the better person that you're supposed to be. I would not trust this new boss of yours. I think you are better than that. Could you tell me where you put Emily, and we will be able to help you become a better person?" There's a pause, and Joran replies, "Have I really become that bad?" Leah responds, "I think that you have caused a lot of people who know you a lot of feelings of betrayal and pain as they see the person you've become."
Wait,
It's
is
really
this
distracting?
What's coming?
what is this like Leah casted fucking dominate person on Joran? Is that what happened, or it was just charm? Oh, it's not dominate person. It's just a simple charm effect. It's no big
Listen.
deal. No big deal.
I know exactly where this is going. Okay,
He
continue.
replies, "It wasn't supposed to be like that. I've surrendered Emily to Oren Betrayal. His guards took her this morning shortly after we arrived." Leah replies, "Does Oren Betrayal also serve your higher master?" Joran responds, "I don't know, but I was told through a dream that making this bargain with him would avert a war. I don't know if you've seen the dwarven troops are lined up along the western coast. They're looking to invade, and they're looking to start here at Twin Harbours. If giving up Emily could stop that?" Leah replies, "I'm with you 100% in attempting to avert war, but I don't think that kidnapping a young woman is the way to do it. I think there could be another way." "But what?" "That's what we need to find out." "Right, well." And then you see a pained look on Jaren's face. His eyes are distant. With a quick movement, his left hand slashes across his own throat, dagger in hand. He starts to bleed out. Almost as quick, the wound starts to close up and he falls unconscious. The room fades away and you're left stood on the quiet black sea. I'm gonna leave it there for the break.
All right, yeah. Hey, have you had enough emotional turmoil yet? Or
Do you need a break?
do you need a break? Do you need more emotional turmoil? If you do,
I hope so.
If you do need more of that, join us in about 15 minutes. We'll be back. We're still going to be delving through all the levels of hell, and everything's going to be dandy, and there's going to be flowers everywhere, and sunshine, and rainbows, and all sorts of good stuff like that. Thanks, as always, for watching, and we will see you soon.